Part 1, Stars and Shadows. It's all guts and glory until you find yourself floating through the shattered remains of an orbital scrapyard, a ghost in the machine of what was once the central hub of the Proxima Drift. I had always wanted to see it in its prime, mind you, but the universe had a funny way of interpreting wishes. Here I was, equipped with a patchwork space suit, navigating through debris that clinked and clanked with a metallic symphony every time I dared to move. "Anderson, you still breathing out there?" crackled the voice of Captain Juno over the comm. Her voice was like sandpaper wrapped in silk, rough enough to make you pay attention, soft enough to make you feel safe. "Yes, Captain. Miraculously, none of these rusty shards have impaled me yet," I replied, trying to maneuver past a twisted bulkhead. There was a bright side to being stuck in the remains of an ancient orbital station: the view. The cosmos stretched around me, a glittering void of stars and shadows. The occasional flash of distant solar flares painted the wreckage with hues of blue and crimson. The Proxima Drift wasn't just any orbital station. It had been the trading nexus of the quadrant, a behemoth of commerce and alliance until it had all gone silent overnight. My team and I were sent to investigate. The mystery of its sudden abandonment was a cosmic itch too tantalizing not to scratch. "Watch your six, Anderson," came a new voice, Roark, our engineer and part-time comedian. "I saw something glinting. Might just be your personality finally shining through." I chuckled, grateful for the levity. "Thanks, Roark. I'll be sure to polish my charm for the next round." A gust of static crackled through my ear before Juno's voice sobered the moment. "Focus, both of you. Let's find out what happened here. We're not the first to sniff this station, but we damn well better be the last." With her words echoing in my helmet, I tightened my grip on the tether and propelled myself towards the central docking ring. The closer I got, the more my suspicions were confirmed. Something was terribly wrong. The drift was eerily quiet, an emptiness that gnawed at my instincts. It was then that I saw it, a massive breach in the station's hull, jagged as if a giant beast had clawed its way through. I swallowed hard. "Captain, you're going to want to see this." My comm crackled with her acknowledgement, but my eyes were already fixed on the interior revealed through the breach. I maneuvered into the gaping wound, my chest tightening with each meter. Inside, shadows loomed. The interior was a different world, floating debris illuminated by the soft glow of emergency lights. Gravity had long since vanished, leaving everything suspended in eternal ballet. I drifted deeper, noticing something that turned my stomach. There were bodies frozen in the last moments of chaos, faces captured in silent screams. My helmet's visor shielded my eyes, but not my thoughts. Roark's voice broke the morbid spell. "Hey, Anderson, you got any life signs in there?" "Negative," I replied, my voice a whisper. "It's a graveyard." I paused, fighting the uncomfortable knot in my throat. "But something else, it's like they were running from something." Juno's voice echoed with grim determination. "Check the control deck. We need that data. Whatever happened, Anderson, we need to know why." The corridors twisted, a maze of disuse and dereliction. I made my way to the command center, the pulse of my suit's thrusters the only sound amid the thick silence. The door was sealed, but a few calculated taps on the panel and it slowly groaned open. Inside, the control deck was a capsule of time, instruments frozen mid-operation. As I sifted through the data logs, a chill scurried down my spine. The station's logs painted a picture of turmoil, systems failing, security breached, and then nothing. The logs simply stopped, as if the station itself had been swallowed by shadow. "Captain, I've got something," I announced, sending the logs over. "But it's not much, it just ends." Juno's response was immediate. "Not without answers, it doesn't. Wrap it up. We're getting out of here." That's when I felt it, a presence, something watching. The uncanny sensation was palpable, crawling over my skin. I shook it off, blaming the eerie environment, and began my retreat. But the feeling didn't leave. It was as if the station itself was alive, aware of its intruders. I was almost at the breach when Roark shouted over the comm, urgency tinging his voice. "Anderson, bogey at 8 o'clock." Panic surged through me as an alien craft materialized from the shadows, sleek and predatory. It wasn't human, its lines were too fluid, its movements too silent. My breath hitched as I realized it was the kind of ship only whispered about in hushed tones. The kind that shouldn't exist. No time to think. My instincts roared as I propelled myself towards the breach, an asteroid belt. Of debris, my only refuge. The alien craft loomed, and I knew too well I was a mere speck against its might. My heart pounded in sync with my suit's thrusters as I weaved through the wreckage. The alien ship was relentless, its dark hull cutting through the chaos. I dived behind a massive hunk of metal, a momentary respite. My comm buzzed with life. "Get out of there, Anderson, now," Juno barked, urgency crackling through every word. The craft scanned, a shimmering wave that sent shivers down my spine. I didn't wait for it to find me. I launched myself into space, towards the faint glimmer of our ship, the Forsaken, waiting like a lighthouse in the storm. With every ounce of energy, I surged forward, the alien vessel closing in fast. Silence screamed in my ears as I pushed my suit to its limits. The Forsaken's airlock loomed ahead, a beacon of hope. I tumbled inside, the hatch sealing behind me. Safe for now. The alien craft hung outside, a specter of mystery. I exhaled, the weight of survival settling heavily on me. But in that quiet moment, a question lingered, whispered by the cosmos itself. What had we just awakened? We scrambled back onto the deck, Juno's eyes locked with mine, demanding answers my brain was racing to provide. The Forsaken thrummed, ready to make its escape, but my thoughts were anchored to the mystery we'd uncovered. The drift's silence had spoken volumes, and the universe's secrets were just beginning to unravel. Part 2, Echoes of the Unseen Asterisk. The Forsaken hummed through the void, a lone wanderer threading the needle of cosmic uncertainty. I leaned back in the pilot's chair, releasing a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. Juno stood nearby, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen, where the Proxima Drift faded into a distant relic. We de-escaped the alien craft, but its presence lingered, an indelible shadow of questions we couldn't yet answer. "Captain," I began, my voice cutting through the tension, "what the hell was that thing?" Juno sighed deeply, her fingers drumming a thoughtful rhythm on the console. "An anomaly, Anderson. One that shouldn't exist, but it does, and it's left us with more questions than answers." Roark, having traded his seat for a wrench, was fiddling with the communications array. "I prefer my mysteries unsolved, less work for me," he quipped, managing a grin. "Still, I'd rather face a paperwork avalanche than whatever that was." I chuckled, grateful for the laughter, but beneath the humor lay a river of unease. The drift's silence was a mystery, and the alien ship was the key to a lock we hadn't yet found. The logs offered little, a trail cut short by something none of us could see. Juno turned to me, her gaze unwavering. "Anderson, set a course for the nearest outpost. We need intel, and I want every piece of data we salvaged from the drift analyzed. Roark, see if you can make our comms a little more persuasive." Roark saluted with mock seriousness. "Aye, aye, Captain. I'll charm the circuits into submission." As Roark got to work, I laid in the coordinates for Outpost Helios, a solitary station orbiting a gas giant, known for its dense information networks and, more importantly, its discretion. The Forsaken leapt into FTL, the universe stretching around us in a blur of starlight. The journey was long enough to gather our thoughts, but short enough to keep the adrenaline simmering beneath our skin. I watched the swirl of hyperspace, a kaleidoscope of colors that whispered secrets only the stars could understand. The silence was comforting, a stark contrast to the chaos we just escaped. Hours passed like the unfurling of a dream, and before long the outpost loomed ahead, its silhouette stark against the swirling clouds of the gas giant. Helios wasn't much to look at, but it was a haven for those who knew where to look. We docked with the precision of seasoned spacers, the forsaken nestling against the outpost like an old friend. The airlock hissed open, admitting us to the station's bustling corridors. Helios was a melting pot of species and intentions, a carnival of life amid the vacuum. Juno led the way, her stride purposeful. We were looking for Neria, a broker with her fingers in every pie and the discretion of a tomb. The bazaar-like atmosphere buzzed with activity, the scent of exotic spices mingling with the tang of machinery. Roark's eyes sparkled, always the tourist, even in familiar haunts. Neria's establishment was tucked away in an alcove, a sanctuary from the chaos. She greeted us with a knowing smile, her eyes dancing with mischief and curiosity. "Juno," she purred, her voice a melody of cultures, "to what do I owe the pleasure?" Juno didn't mince words. "We need intel, Proxima Drift." Neria's eyes flickered with interest, a hawk spotting prey. "Ah, the ghost station. Whispers in the dark, step into my office." The office was more of a den, infused with the scent of incense and lined with screens displaying data bursts from across the galaxy. We settled into plush chairs that seemed to swallow us whole, and Neria leaned forward, all business now. "I've heard of strange movements near the drift," Neria began, her fingers dancing over a console. "Ships gone silent, sensors scrambled, residents claim phantoms." Juno shared a glance with me, a silent exchange of confirmation. "We encountered an alien craft," she said. "Not human, it was hunting." Neria's eyes lit up with intrigue. "How deliciously perilous. I might have something on that front." She tapped a sequence, and a holographic display flared to life, depicting the alien craft in chilling detail. "Spotted twice in the last cycle," Neria explained, "in the company of other anomalies, but I've a theory. The drift wasn't attacked by conventional means." "Go on," Juno prompted, her tone a mix of curiosity and command. "I suspect an ancient technology," Neria revealed, her voice dipping to a whisper. "A resonance weapon capable of rendering ships inoperable, leaving them to drift like your station." My skin prickled at her words. The thought of such a device was unsettling. "Who could have such technology?" I asked, the question raw in my throat. Neria's smile was enigmatic. "Curiosity is a dangerous beast, my friend. But there are whispers of a faction, hidden in the dark, collecting relics, rewriting the rules of engagement." Juno's eyes hardened with resolve. "We need to find them, can you get us closer?" "For the right price," Neria grinned, her eyes gleaming with opportunistic charm. "But for you, a favor will do." We left the office with more than we came for: knowledge, an intangible currency with the power to reshape destinies. As we made our way back to the ship, my mind raced with possibilities, the weight of our task settling heavily upon me. Roark broke the silence with a grin. "Well, Anderson, looks like we're off to chase shadows again. Or are we the shadows now?" "Depends on who's watching, Roark," I replied, my voice a mix of anticipation and trepidation. "Let's hope our ghosts aren't too keen on finding us." But deep down, I knew Neria's words had shifted the tides of our reality. Ancient technologies, unseen factions, the universe was larger and more mysterious than I'd ever imagined. The Forsaken was our compass, our vessel through the unknown, and as we set a new course, the stakes were higher than ever. Part 3. Whispers of the Forgotten Asterisk. The Forsaken glided through the starlit abyss like a shadow among the stars. The engine's low hum was comforting, a constant presence amid the unknown. Information from Neria had pointed us toward an uncharted sector known only as the Abyssal Vale, a region whispered about in fear and awe. It was said to be a graveyard of ancient technologies, a place where ships vanished without a trace, and where logic yielded to the whims of cosmic phantoms. I stood by the observation deck, watching the galaxy unfold before us. A nebula swirled in the distance, a tapestry of blues and purples, marred by a dark silhouette, our destination. Juno joined me, her gaze fixed ahead, contemplating the journey that lay before us. "Do you think Neria's intel will hold up?" I asked, my voice cutting through the low hum of the engines. Juno turned, her expression thoughtful. "Neria's never led us astray before, but there's always a first time. Still, we've got a lead and we'll follow it." Roark's voice crackled over the comms, bringing a moment of levity. "As long as it's not leading us into a black hole, I'm game. I've grown quite fond of existing." I chuckled, the tension easing slightly. But beneath the humor, there was an undercurrent of apprehension. We were heading into the unknown, guided by secrets and whispers, and our path was shrouded in uncertainty. The Forsaken slipped into the abyssal veil, the universe outside growing darker, the stars thinning to mere echoes. The ship's sensors flickered with static, the veil's influence gnawing at our instruments. We pressed on, our eyes peeled for signs of the faction Neria had hinted at. As if summoned by thought, the silhouette of a massive structure emerged from the shadows, a derelict, ancient and forgotten, floating in the void. The hull was a mosaic of alien architecture, intricate patterns that defied human comprehension. It was a relic of a bygone era, and my heart skipped at the sight. "Captain, you seeing this?" I called, my eyes wide with wonder and dread. Juno nodded, her voice steady. "Looks like we've found our first breadcrumb. Roark, can you get us a reading?" Roark's fingers danced over his console. "The structure's massive, but the power readings are faint. It's like it's asleep, waiting for something." We approached cautiously, the Forsaken circling the relic with the grace of a dancer. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, the shadows of the veil alive with unseen eyes. "Let's get a closer look," Juno decided, tapping the display with a glint of curiosity. "Anderson, you're with me. Roark, keep the engines hot." We donned our EVA suits, the familiar embrace of the gear both reassuring and confining. The airlock cycled, and we stepped into the void, the Forsaken a silent guardian at our backs. The relic loomed, its surface a tapestry of alien script, glowing faintly in the darkness. Juno and I drifted closer, our suits' thrusters barely a whisper in the vastness. The silence was profound, broken only by the hushed whispers of our comms. The relic seemed to pulse with a hidden life, as though aware of our presence. We landed on the hull, our magnetic boots holding firm. I reached out to touch the alien surface, my gloved fingers tracing the intricate patterns. The metal was cold, unyielding, yet alive with the echoes of the past. "What do you think it was?" I asked, my voice soft, almost reverent. Juno scanned the structure, her eyes narrowing in thought. "A ship once, or a station. Whatever it was, it's hiding something. Let's find an entrance." We moved along the hull, picking our way through the labyrinth of alien design. The structure was a puzzle, each piece a fragment of a lost history. As we rounded a corner, we stumbled upon a hatch, its outline barely visible against the surface. "Here we go," Juno murmured, her fingers deftly working the control panel. With a hiss, the hatch slid open, revealing a passageway into the relic's depths. We entered cautiously, our lights carving a path through the darkness. The corridors were narrow, claustrophobic, the walls inscribed with alien glyphs that seemed to pulse with their own ethereal light. The air was thick with a sense of abandonment, as though the structure itself mourned its forgotten past. Deeper we went, the relic a maze of shadows and secrets. The faint hum of power grew stronger, a distant heartbeat that called to us. We followed, drawn to the source with the inexorable pull of gravity. And then we found it, a chamber at the heart of the relic, its walls adorned with alien technology. A console glowed in the center, a beacon of mystery amid the gloom. Juno approached it, her eyes wide with wonder. "This is it," she said, her voice filled with awe, "the key to everything." I joined her, my heart pounding with anticipation. As I reached out to touch the console, the air shimmered and the room was bathed in light. Hologra. Thick displays flared to life, images and data swirling in the air. But my eyes were drawn to a figure, ghostly and ethereal, standing at the edge of the chamber. It wasn't human, its form a symphony of shifting light and shadow. It watched us, its gaze ancient and knowing. My breath caught, the realization dawning. This was no derelict. It was a sentinel, a guardian of secrets long forgotten, and it had noticed us. The figure spoke, its voice a chorus of echoes. "Why have you come?" I met Juno's eyes, the weight of the moment heavy upon us. We had come seeking answers, but what we found were more questions. The universe was larger than our understanding, and the path ahead was fraught with unknowns. But standing there, in the heart of the relic, I knew we were on the brink of discovery. The whispering shadows had led us here, and the journey was only just beginning. Part 4: The Guardian's Paradox. The sentinel's voice resonated through the chamber like a ripple in a pond, each word a stone cast into the quiet depths of our understanding. I stood on the precipice of history, caught between awe and trepidation. Juno, ever the embodiment of resilience, stepped forward with a calmness that belied the chaos swirling in my mind. "We seek the truth," she responded, her voice unwavering, clear as a bell in a silent chapel. "The drift, the anomalies, why is the galaxy swallowing itself in silence?" The sentinel's gaze, if it could be called that, seemed to pierce through the layers of existence, evaluating our intent with an ancient patience. "Truth," it echoed, the word carrying the weight of ages. "Truth lies within the fabric of the forgotten, woven into the core of the lost." I felt a shiver run down my spine, the chamber's glow casting long shadows on the walls, dancing to the rhythm of the sentinel's presence. This wasn't just a guardian of relics, it was a keeper of cosmic lore, a witness to the eons. Juno, ever perceptive, sensed the gravity of the moment. "Why was the drift attacked?" Her question was clipped, each syllable laden with urgency. The sentinel shimmered, a kaleidoscope of light and form, an enigma speaking in riddles. A wound in the tapestry, a clash of echoes. The ancient resonance awakened, an artifact of power untamed. I caught a look between Juno and myself, a silent understanding. The resonance weaponaria had speculated about, a thread pulled from the fabric of the universe with consequences unforeseen. The drift was merely a thread snapped by a force far beyond our comprehension. I stepped forward, my heart pounding with questions unasked. Who wields this power now, and why? The chamber pulsed with the sentinel's response, a harmonic of light and sound. Seekers in shadow, collectors of the untold, they grasp at the strands of destiny, binding fate to their will. Chills crawled across my skin. We weren't just chasing phantoms anymore. We were on the trail of something darker, a force weaving its own narrative into the cosmos. The weight of our task settled heavily on my shoulders, a burden shared between us all. Juno nodded, her eyes fierce with determination. How do we stop them? The sentinel hesitated, the air thick with the gravity of what it held back. The path lies within the heart of the storm where the echoes converge. The key is the symphony unbroken. With that, the light began to fade, the room dimming as the sentinel's form dissolved, leaving us alone with the remnants of its wisdom. The chamber returned to its silence, the console's glow now a mere memory. Juno and I exchanged a glance, the spark of discovery tempered by the enormity of our mission. We had a direction, if not clarity, and the fragmentary nature of the sentinel's words hung like a specter over our resolve. We retraced our steps, emerging from the relic into the limitless void, the stars now witnesses to our renewed purpose. The Forsaken welcomed us back, its familiar hum a balm to our rattled nerves. Roark was waiting, his expression a blend of curiosity and concern. "Find anything interesting?" he asked, a smile tugging at one corner of his mouth, a shield against the unknown. I nodded, the weight of revelation still heavy, more than we bargained for. Juno took charge, her voice a rallying cry. "The path is set, we're heading into the heart of the storm." Roark's eyebrows raised, a flicker of anticipation in his eyes. "And where might that be, Cap?" "Gamma Theta Nebula," Juno replied, the name rolling off her tongue with the cadence of destiny. "The storm is there, and so are our answers." Roark busied himself with the controls, the ship's systems humming to life with renewed vigor. As we set our course, the universe around us became a tapestry of motion, the stars blurring into streaks of light, the nebula a beacon of uncertainty. The journey was long, a dance through the solar winds, the silence punctuated by the rhythmic pulse of the engines. The space within the ship felt more intimate, our shared determination a bond that transcended the physical confines of the Forsaken. I found myself drawn to the observation deck once more, the expanse of reality unfurling before me. The nebula grew closer, a vivid swirl of celestial colors that beckoned with promises of enlightenment and peril alike. Juno joined me, her presence a steady anchor. "We've come a long way," she murmured, her gaze fixed on the nebula's heart. "And there's further still to go," I replied, a sense of quiet resolution settling over me. The Forsaken plunged into the nebula, the universe a kaleidoscope of colors and shadows. It was beautiful, the kind of beauty that steals your breath and leaves you in awe of the cosmos, capricious artistry. But beneath the beauty lay danger, and as we navigated through the heart of the storm, I felt the fabric of reality itself begin to tremble, the resonance of ancient power reverberating through the ship. We were on the brink, the precipice of revelation and ruin. The echoes of the forgotten whispered around us, and as the Forsaken delved deeper into the storm, I knew we were about to face the symphony unbroken. The universe was an orchestra of mystery, and the conductor unseen. In the heart of the storm, where echoes converge, our answers awaited, and we were ready to listen. Part 5. The Symphony Unraveled. The Forsaken sliced through the heart of the Gamma Theta Nebula, its hull whispering against the fabric of swirling gases and stardust. As we delved deeper into the chromatic storm, the ship's sensors danced with wild fluctuations, the residue of ancient energies resonating within the nebula's embrace. Roark, his hands a flurry of motion over the controls, muttered to himself, his voice a thread of calm amid the cosmic tension. "Everything's reading off the charts, Cap. It's like we're in the eye of a celestial hurricane." Juno stood at the helm, eyes fixed on the view ahead, her demeanor as steady as the ship's trajectory. "Hold her steady, Roark. We're right where we need to be." I was at her side, the intensity of our mission a living presence among us. The nebula was a symphony of chaos and order, its colors shifting through the spectrum of reality, and at its core lay the answers we sought, along with the shadows of those who wouldn't want us to find them. As we pressed forward, the ship's instruments began to pick up something tangible amidst the storm. A signal, faint yet persistent, echoing from a structure hidden within the nebula's depths. There was a familiarity to it, a thread connecting it back to Proxima Drift and the relic we'd unearthed. "Captain, I've got something," I announced, pointing at the console. "The signal is coming from up ahead. It matches the energy signature we found on the drift." Juno nodded, her expression a mix of relief and anticipation. "That's our target. Let's see what the shadows are hiding." The Forsaken emerged from the nebula's embrace into a clearing of relative calm, the eye of the storm where the universe held its breath. Before us loomed a massive construct, a web of metal and light, suspended in the void. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen, an amalgam of technologies both ancient and eerily advanced. The structure pulsed with energy, the resonance weapon, its heartbeat the very hum of the nebula around us. Ships, unseen until now, circled it, their sinister silhouettes watching the storm with predatory intent. "Looks like we've found our collectors," Roark murmured, his voice tight with unease. My heart pounded as Juno assessed the situation, her mind a whirl of possibilities. "We need to disrupt the weapon, sever their control. Anderson, you're with me. Roark, keep us covered." The plan was audacious, reckless even, but necessity demanded nothing less. We suited up, the weight of the EVA gear a familiar ally, and prepared to board the structure, our unwelcome entrance into the heart of the conspiracy. As we crossed the void, the construct loomed larger, its surfaces a maze of alien glyphs and arcane machinery. The ships circling it drew closer, alerted by our approach, and I felt the cold thrill of adrenaline as I imagined their weapons trained on us. We reached the surface, magnetically locking onto the alien architecture. I glanced at Juno, her calm focus a steadying force. "This is it," she said, voice firm despite the tension crackling in the air. "Let's end this." The entry point was a hatch, a portal into the unknown. It opened under Juno's expert touch, revealing a labyrinth of corridors that pulsed with an ominous glow. We moved quickly, guided by the map Roark fed to our visors, each step drawing us closer to the core of the weapon. Within the structure, the air vibrated with power, a chorus of energy in a language we couldn't comprehend. The corridors twisted around us, each turn a choice between progress and peril. The weight of unseen eyes bore down, and I couldn't shake the feeling we were being herded towards something. As we rounded a corner, a figure materialized from the shadows, its form shifting like the nebula itself. It was alien, yet not unfamiliar, a creature of light and shadow, its presence commanding and ancient. "You trespass," it intoned, its voice a synthesis of echoes. Juno held her ground, unwavering. "We seek to stop this madness. The galaxy is not yours to command." The creature studied us, a silent contemplation that seemed to stretch eternity. "The symphony was broken long ago. We seek only to restore balance." My mind raced, the implications unraveling like threads. These collectors weren't conquerors. They were custodians, misguided but not malevolent, caught in the web of ancient technology, seeking to mend what once was broken. "There has to be another way," I urged, my voice a plea against the dark tide. The creature's gaze shifted, a flicker of something unreadable passing over its features. "There is always another path, but it demands sacrifice." A choice lay before us, an irreversible moment where morality and survival intertwined. To dismantle the weapon, to preserve the integrity of the cosmos, We had to sever its power source, a chain reaction that would obliterate the construct and possibly us with it. Juno met my eyes, the decision unspoken yet you. Understood. We do this together, she said, determination etched into every line of her face. As we moved toward the core, the construct trembled, aware of its impending fate. Alarms blared and the corridors vibrated with urgency. We reached the heart, the resonance weapon pulsating with raw energy, its apparatus a symphony of chaos. Together we initiated the sequence, a cascade of light and sound that resonated through the structure. The energy surged, a crescendo building to an inevitable climax, and I felt the universe hold its breath. In that moment, as the symphony reached its peak, I realized we weren't just ending a threat. We were rewriting the song of the stars, guided by echoes of the forgotten and the promise of what's to come. The explosion was both silent and deafening, a nova blossoming within the nebula's heart, consuming the construct in a final, beautiful crescendo. As the light faded, we were left adrift, held by the Forsaken's tether, survivors of our own making. The journey had changed us, reshaped the universe in ways both seen and unseen. We defaced the shadows and emerged into the light, forever transformed by the symphony that had guided our path. And as we gazed into the nebulous void, I knew the echoes would linger, whispering of the journey yet to come. Part 6. Phantoms of the Cosmos ***. The Forsaken drifted through the quiet aftermath, the nebula's once tumultuous colors now a tranquil sea of starlight. The silence was profound, a stark contrast to the roaring crescendo of moments before. We hung suspended in the void, remnants of the destroyed construct dissipating into the ether, along with the weight of the choice we'd made. I sat in the observation deck, the vastness of space stretching before me, infinite and unknowable. Juno stood beside me, her presence a steady anchor, her eyes distant, lost in the tapestry of stars. The cosmos felt different now, as if the universe in its infinite wisdom had shifted ever so slightly on its axis. "Do you think we really changed anything?" I asked, my voice carrying the weight of uncertainty. Juno's gaze remained fixed on the stars, her expression thoughtful. "We changed ourselves," she replied quietly, her words laced with the wisdom of experience. "And maybe that's enough." Roark's voice crackled over the comm, a welcome interruption. "We're picking up a signal, Cap. Looks like a distress beacon, but the source is weird." I glanced at Juno, our curiosity piqued. "Weird how?" I asked, intrigued despite the lingering exhaustion. Roark appeared on the screen, his brow furrowed, his eyes a mixture of fascination and wariness. "It's broadcasting on an old frequency, real old. Pre-unification, ancient tech like it's been out here for centuries." A chill ran down my spine. The thought of a signal lost in time, echoing through the galaxy, was both eerie and mesmerizing. It was as though the past reached out to us, fingers woven through the fabric of space-time, begging to be heard. Juno made a decision, her voice firm. "Let's investigate. We owe it to ourselves and to whoever might still be out there." The Forsaken adjusted its course, the engines murmuring in response. The signal led us deeper into the nebula, the colors shifting once more, a silent symphony that guided our path. The journey felt both timeless and immediate, as if each moment stretched and contracted in the breath of the cosmos. We followed the signal, its beacon a phantom note in the silence. As we neared its source, the outlines of a vessel emerged from the shadows, a ghost ship adrift in the sea of stars. Its hull was battered, pockmarked by the ravages of time and space, yet it retained an elegance, a testament to the craftsmanship of a forgotten age. "By the stars," Roark breathed, awe-tinging his words, "it's a relic." The ship was a relic indeed, a vessel from the past, untouched by the hands of time. Its design was both familiar and alien, echoing the aesthetics of an era long past. We docked with care, the airlock sealing with a hiss of ancient mechanisms stirring to life. Juno, Roark, and I suited up once more, the thrill of discovery mingling with the ever-present tension of the unknown. We stepped into the derelict ship, our footsteps echoing through corridors silent for centuries. The interior was dimly lit, the shadows deep and pervasive. We moved carefully, guided by the flickering lights of our helmets. The air was stale, saturated with the weight of forgotten stories and dormant systems. "This place feels like a museum," Roark observed, his voice a whisper in the stillness. "Or a mausoleum." We continued our exploration, each room a vignette of history, artifacts from a bygone era preserved in the vacuum's embrace. As we penetrated deeper, the ship seemed to awaken, systems flickering to life, acknowledging our presence. Then deep within its core, we found the source of the distress signal, a chamber that housed a single pod, its surface frosted over, a testament to its age. Inside was a figure, a human, suspended in cryogenic slumber, a relic of the past caught within the tendrils of time. How is this possible? I wondered aloud, my breath fogging the visor, a token of disbelief. Juno studied the pod, her expression one of determination and resolve. "We need to wake them. They might hold the key to why this ship has been wandering the void, calling out across the ages." Roark busied himself with the pod's controls, his expertise a dance of fingers over ancient technology. The chamber hummed with life, the symphony of awakening as the pod's systems responded to his touch. Slowly the frost began to melt, the veil of time peeling away to reveal the figure within. The process was gradual, a careful resurrection from the depths of forgotten history. As the pod opened, the figure stirred, consciousness returning in gentle waves. The person within was a woman, her features serene and ageless, caught in a moment untouched by time. Her eyes fluttered open, confusion and awareness colliding within her gaze. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice a melody of languages, a question suspended in the void. "You're aboard the Forsaken," Juno replied gently. "We found your ship adrift in the nebula. You've been asleep, or a long time." The woman's gaze sharpened, her eyes meeting ours with a mixture of wonder and apprehension. "I am Captain Elira Dane of the SS Valkyrie," she said, her voice steady despite the disorientation. "What year is it?" As we explained the passage of time, her expression shifted, a blend of relief and sorrow. Her story unfolded like a tapestry, each thread a fragment of the past woven with the present. The Valkyrie had been on a mission of exploration, caught in the nebula's grasp, its fate sealed by the ancient technologies of its time. As we listened, the realization dawned that Elira Dane and her ship were remnants, echoes of a universe that had shifted and evolved beyond recognition. And with her awakening, the cosmos whispered of new paths, uncharted territories awaiting discovery. Together we stood upon the cusp of history and future, bound by the stars and the forgotten symphonies of the universe. A new adventure beckoned, and with it the promise of the unknown, the thrill of exploring the uncharted expanse of possibility with Captain Elira Dane, a bridge between the past and the endless horizon. Thus began our next chapter, guided by the phantoms of the cosmos and the resonant echoes of time. Part 7: The Threads of Time. The Forsaken now housed not just a crew, but a living relic of the past. Captain Elira Dane adjusted to her new reality with a grace that belied the chasm of time she had crossed. Her presence on the ship was like a thread from another tapestry woven into our own, and her insights into her lost era were as valuable as they were astonishing. Elira spent her days in quiet revelation, exploring the features of our ship, the marvels of our era, and piecing together the fragments of her mission. As she familiarized herself with the Forsaken, our impromptu family grew tighter, woven together by shared experiences and a new layer of intrigue. One evening, as the stars glided past the observation deck in their languid dance, Elira and I found ourselves there, the silence between us comfortable and contemplative. The nebula's soft hues painted our faces, a backdrop of ethereal wonder. "Did you ever imagine waking up to all of this?" I asked, gesturing to the expanse, my curiosity getting the better of me. Elira's smile was wistful, a bridge between nostalgia and acceptance. "We always dreamed of the future, but nothing prepares you for it. The universe is a tapestry, woven by hands unseen." Her words resonated deeply, and I felt the weight of her journey settle over us like a comforting blanket. Before I could respond, the calm crackled, Roark's voice breaking the tranquility. "Captain Anderson, you need to see this," he announced, urgency threading his words with tension. Elira and I exchanged a glance, a silent understanding passing between us, and we made our way to the command deck. Juno stood by the console, her focus intense, Roark at her side gesturing at the display. "What's going on?" I asked, scanning the array of data projected before us. "We picked up a massive energy signature," Roark explained, his fingers flying over the controls. "It's not far from here, something big, something alive, and it's moving." Elira stepped forward, her gaze fixed on the display. "The nebula is an ecosystem," she mused aloud, her voice a mix of wonder and concern. "It's possible we've stumbled upon a life form, something that's never encountered technology like ours." The implication of her words settled over us with the weight of cosmic inevitability. We were explorers, yes, but the universe was as unpredictable as it was vast. Our mission was no longer just to uncover the relics of the past, but to engage with the present, the living tapestry we were now a part of. "Roark, can you get us closer?" Juno inquired, her voice resolute, a spark of curiosity igniting her eyes. "Already on it, Cap," Roark replied. The hum of the Forsaken's engines a familiar comfort as we adjusted course toward the mysterious signal. As we approached, the energy readings intensified, the ship's sensors alight with the vibrant pulse of life. The nebula thickened around us, a swirling mist that obscured and revealed in equal measure. And then, through the haze, we saw it, a colossal entity, its form undulating through the nebula with the grace of an ancient dancer. The creature was magnificent, a leviathan crafted of light and shadow, its skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that danced across its body like a living aurora. It moved with purpose, seemingly oblivious to our presence, yet the space it inhabited was alive with its symphony. Elira's breath caught, the awe in her eyes mirrored in our own. "A celestial," she whispered, the word a reverent benediction. I'd only ever heard stories. The celestial's presence was a force unto itself, an ancient life form that dwarfed our understanding. It was a being of the nebula, a thread woven into its fabric, and as we watched, it began to sing a melody that resonated through space, a haunting and beautiful call that vibrated within our bones. "We need to communicate," Juno decided, her eyes never leaving the creature. "If it's sending out a call, we should answer." Roark nodded, his fingers dancing over the console as he attempted to translate the celestial's melody into a language both we and it might understand. The Forsaken systems responded, crafting a symphony of light and sound, a reply composed of hope and peace. The effect was immediate. The The celestial paused, its massive form turning towards us in an elegant arc. The patterns on its skin shifted, the colors intensifying as it acknowledged our presence. The nebula around us thrummed with a new energy, a connection forged across the vastness of our differences. The celestial's song changed, its melody now rich with curiosity and wonder, and in that moment I felt a connection not just with the creature but with the cosmos itself. The universe was alive, a living tapestry woven with threads of light and life, and we were part of its story. Elira watched, her eyes bright with possibilities unspoken, and I knew that whatever lay ahead, whatever challenges we might face, we would face them together, explorers of the uncharted, guardians of the unknown. As the celestial continued its dance, we stood united, each note of its song a reminder of the endless journey before us. The stars whispered promises of adventure, and in their light we found our place in the tapestry, bound by the threads of time and the eternal symphony of the cosmos. Part 8. Resonance of the Unknown Asterisk. The celestial's presence lingered in our thoughts as we drifted away from the nebula, its haunting melody a lullaby echoing in the vast expanse. Each of us carried a piece of that encounter, an indelible mark left by a life form that had existed long before humanity first dreamed of the stars. Back aboard the Forsaken, we gathered in the mess hall, the soft hum of the ship a comforting backdrop to our shared reflection. Elira sat among us, still adjusting to the strange rhythm of our time, her eyes a prism of curiosity and a hint of nostalgia. It was Roark who broke the silence, his voice carrying the weight of the moment with a dose of his usual humor. "Well, I never thought I'd play a duet with a cosmic whale," he said, grinning through the lingering awe. Juno nodded, her expression thoughtful, eyes sharp with the edge of insight. The nebula's secrets are beyond our understanding, but it's clear there's more to discover. That celestial, it was aware, conscious in a way we hadn't anticipated. Elira turned to us, her voice a bridge spanning centuries. "In my time, we spoke of celestial spirits, guardians of the void. They were myths, stories passed down to keep our feet grounded as our eyes reached for the stars." As we pondered her words, the ship's comms crackled to life with a signal none of us were expecting, a message, fragmented and distorted, pulsing in waves across the celestial frequencies. It was a call, not from the celestial, but something else entirely. Roark's brow furrowed as he worked to stabilize the signal. "It's broadcasting on a wide range, not like anything we've encountered before," he murmured, frustration and intrigue mingling in his voice. Juno leaned forward, her gaze intent as the message coalesced into something coherent. "This is a call for aid from the fringe, an outlying system. Anyone who hears this, we need assistance. The anomaly." The transmission fractured, a digital scream torn apart by static, leaving the air charged with a sense of urgency. My heart clenched with a familiar sense of duty, and I could see the same resolve mirrored in Juno's eyes. "The fringe," I repeated, the term conjuring images of distant worlds and untamed frontiers. "That's far beyond any established routes. What could be happening out there?" Elira's gaze was steady, her voice soft yet firm. "Frontier systems have always been vulnerable. If they're facing an anomaly, it could be as ancient as the celestial or something entirely new." Choices hung suspended in the air, a crossroads of possibilities. We were a small crew on a vast ship, an island in the endless ocean. Yet the call resonated with us, the unknown pulling us forward as it always had. Juno made the decision, her voice a beacon in the uncertainty. "We answer the call. Roark, plot a course. Every anomaly we solve brings us closer to understanding this universe we call home." The Forsaken leapt into action, transitioning from contemplation to purpose. The universe unfurled ahead of us, the stars a map to the unknown. We were headed to the fringe, a region on the edge of the known galaxy where space itself seemed to curve and twist. As we traveled, the ship became a vessel of preparation and anticipation. Elira integrated seamlessly, her past experiences interwoven with our future plans. She shared tales of exploration and survival, her knowledge a treasure trove of insights from a forgotten age. The journey was long, punctuated by the silent conversation of the stars, the occasional anomaly rippling through the fabric of space. We passed through fields of asteroids, the cosmic debris dancing in our wake, and navigated the gravitational eddies of collapsed stars, remnants of cosmic battles fought in the silence of the void. When we arrived at the fringe, the sight before us was unlike anything we'd encountered. A swirling mass of energy loomed, a vortex of vibrant hues and shimmering shadows. It was an anomaly unlike any other, both beautiful and terrifying in its unpredictability. The signal intensified, resonating with the anomaly's pulses, a beacon of distress entwined with the cosmic dance. It became clear that this was a region untouched by order, where the rules of reality bent and twisted in ways we could hardly fathom. Juno's voice cut through the cacophony, a calm directive in the chaos. "We need to investigate. Roark, keep the ship steady. Anderson, Elira with me." We donned our suits again, the familiar ritual grounding us as we prepared to face the unknown. The airlock cycled open, and we stepped out into a world beyond comprehension, tethered to the Forsaken by a lifeline of trust. The vortex beckoned, its energy a living entity that ebbed and flowed around us. We moved as a unit, navigating the swirl of color and light, seeking the heart of the anomaly where the signal was strongest. As we approached, it became clear that this anomaly was more than a phenomenon. It was a gateway, a rift in the fabric of time and space. The implications stirred my imagination, possibilities flickering like distant stars. Elira's voice crackled over the comms, an echo of fascination. This could be a passage, a corridor through the universe, if we could stabilize it. But before she could finish, a powerful wave rippled through the vortex, a pulse of energy that sent us tumbling. The line between the known and unknown blurred, and in that moment, as the universe spiraled around us, we realized we weren't just here to witness. We were part of the anomaly now, drawn into its symphony, and the path forward was as uncertain as the cosmos itself. Part 9. Beyond the Veil of Reality. The vortex consumed us, a kaleidoscope of shifting light and energy that defied the boundaries of perception. I clung to the tether, feeling the Forsaken's reassuring pull even as the universe disassembled and reassembled around us. Time itself seemed to stretch, each second into eternity, each heartbeat a lifetime. Juno's voice, a lifeline in the maelstrom, cut through the chaos. "Stay focused. We're not just observers, we're part of this now." Despite her calm, my senses were on high alert. The anomaly was alive, an entity of untold power, and we were caught in its thrall. I glanced at Elira, whose eyes were wide with wonder, as if she were witnessing the birth of a star. "It's beautiful," she breathed, her voice a whisper carried through the comms. "We're seeing beyond the veil into the universe's own dreams." As we moved deeper into the anomaly, the energy coalesced around us, forming patterns that whispered of ancient knowledge. It was as if the anomaly were a cosmic library, its shelves filled with the stories of star systems and civilizations long forgotten. Then, abruptly, the chaos subsided, and we found ourselves suspended within a realm of serene silence. The vortex had deposited us into a pocket of space untouched by the tumult outside, a sanctuary hidden within the storm. The sight took my breath away. We floated amidst a field of crystalline structures, their surfaces glinting with iridescent light. The structures pulsed gently, resonating with an energy that was soothing and familiar. "Captain, you're seeing this, right?" Roark's voice came through, tinged with awe. "It's like a cathedral of stars." Juno nodded, her eyes scanning the expanse. "I see it, Roark. We're inside the anomaly, but it's stable here. We need to understand what these structures are." Elira moved closer to one of the crystalline formations, her fingers tracing the smooth surface. "These are conduits," she realized, her voice tinged with excitement. "They're channeling the energy, weaving it into something coherent." As she spoke, a low hum resonated through the chamber, a symphonic vibration that seemed to originate from the very core of the anomaly. I felt it in my bones, a deep pulsing rhythm that aligned with my heartbeats. "We're not alone," I murmured, sensing a presence that was both alien and intimately familiar. From the shadows of the crystalline formations, figures began to emerge, their forms comprised of the same shimmering energy. They were humanoid yet ethereal, their outlines fluid and shifting. Their presence was a gentle curiosity, a welcome rather than a warning. The figures communicated not with words, but through the resonance of the anomaly. Images and emotions flowed between us, a tapestry of understanding woven across the chasm of the unknown. They showed us visions of the anomaly's creation, a legacy of a civilization that had harnessed the cosmos' energy, not to dominate, but to explore and understand. The celestial encounters we'd experienced were but fragments of their journey, echoes from an ancient pursuit of cosmic harmony. "I think they're inviting us to learn," Elira said, her voice tinged with awe. "This is a chance to expand our understanding, to become part of something greater." Juno nodded, her resolve firming. "We've come this far, let's see what they have to teach us." As we engaged with the ethereal beings, the anomaly's energy enveloped us, a cocoon of warmth and enlightenment. The crystalline structures thrummed with life, their light intensifying as they shared their knowledge. We learned of star paths that spanned galaxies, of energy fields that connected worlds like threads in a cosmic web. The anomaly was a nexus, a gathering point for explorers across time and space, a refuge for those who sought to transcend the limits of their own existence. It was a revelation that transcended words, a communion with the universe itself. In those moments, we were no longer merely travelers, we were custodians of a legacy, inheritors of a path that stretched across the stars. The ethereal beings guided us gently, their presence a constant comfort. When it was time to leave, they shared one final gift, a map inscribed in light, showing safe routes through regions of space yet unexplored. With gratitude in our hearts, we prepared to depart, the anomaly releasing us from its embrace. As we re-emerged into the tumult of the vortex, I felt a sense of renewal, a purpose that ran deeper than the stars. The Forsaken drew us back, the ship a sanctuary against the cosmic forces at play. As we settled into the familiar confines, I exchanged a glance with Juno, Elira, and Roark, our shared experience having knit us closer together. The anomaly had welcomed us and taught us, leaving us with a profound understanding of our place within the universe. We were small, yet significant, a part of the tapestry that united all things. As the Forsaken charted a course back to known space, I took one last look at the retreating anomaly, its beauty a whisper of the mysteries that lay beyond. We had glimpsed the infinite, and in doing so, understood the potential of our journey. We were bound for new adventures, guided by a map written in the language of light, the symphony of the cosmos echoing in our souls. The universe had shown us its wonders, and in its embrace we found our true path, explorers of the unknown, keepers of the threads that weave the fabric of all existence. Part 10: Veins of Stardust. The Forsaken sailed through the twilight of the universe, the stars shimmering like grains of diamond dust in the velvet dark. Our encounter with the anomaly had left us thirsting for more, for the stories that lay hidden in the cosmic tapestry, the threads we had yet to unravel. As we ventured onward, the map gifted to us by the ethereal beings guided our path, its constellations formed of luminous pathways through the unknown. Each star system we passed was a whisper of potential, a promise of mysteries yet to be discovered. Elira, ever the explorer, found herself drawn to the ship's library, consuming every bite of knowledge it could offer. Her integration into our crew was seamless, her presence a bridge to the past that enriched our present. Roark, ever the tinkerer, had taken to the engineering bay with a renewed sense of purpose. The ethereal being's insight into energy fields had sparked a flurry of ideas, his hands a blur as he worked to adapt the Forsaken systems, taking us to the brink of innovation. And Juno, our steadfast captain, stood at the helm, her eyes reflecting the stars' brilliance as she charted our course, her confidence unwavering as we navigated the cosmic seas. It was during one of these quiet intervals, as the ship glided through a serene sector of space, that a new signal pierced the calm. Unlike the distress call that had drawn us to the anomaly, this one was a beacon of invitation, melodic and harmonious, resonating with the rhythm of our very souls. "This is something different," Roark murmured, his brow furrowed as he adjusted the frequency. "It's like music, but with meaning woven into every note." Elira joined us on the command deck, her eyes sparkling with intrigue. "It's a language of emotions," she said, listening intently. "There's hope in it and a sense of gathering." Juno nodded, her decision swift and sure. "Let's follow it. Whatever lies at the source, we're meant to find it." The Forsaken adjusted its bearings, the engines surging with a hum of anticipation. We followed the signal through the cosmos, its melody growing stronger, guiding us toward its heart. The journey led us to a system at the fringes of our map, where a star burned with a gentle luminescence, its light embracing a cluster of planets like a nurturing guardian. The signal originated from one of these worlds, its surface a kaleidoscope of color, vibrant with life. As we descended into the planet's atmosphere, the Forsaken sensors came alive, detecting a web of energy that encircled the planet like a protective cocoon. It was an ecosystem in harmony with its star, a symbiosis of cosmic forces that made the air shimmer with vitality. We landed in a clearing surrounded by crystalline flora, their surfaces refracting light into rainbow hues. The world felt alive, a pulse of energy resonating through its soil and sky, a symphony of life and light. It wasn't long before we encountered the planet's inhabitants, beings of energy and light, their forms fluid and ever-changing. They greeted us with warmth, their presence a gentle embrace that left us feeling both welcome and humbled. The beings communicated not through words, but through the resonance of the planet itself. Emotions flowed between us, a tapestry of understanding woven without the need for speech. They were stewards of their world, guardians of the harmony that permeated their home. They shared their story, a history of peace and creativity, where technology and nature coexisted in perfect balance. The beacon we had followed was an invitation, a call to join a gathering of minds, a convergence of knowledge and experience. As the day turned to night, the sky above shimmered with auroras, the air alive with the same music that had drawn us across the stars. We joined the gathering, surrounded by beings from worlds unknown, each contributing their unique perspective to the symphony of the cosmos. In that moment, I felt a profound connection to all things, to the stars, to the planets, to the very molecules that composed me. We were all part of a greater whole, threads in the vast tapestry that stretched across time and space. The gathering was a celebration of existence, a reminder that while the universe was vast and varied, it was also united in its diversity. As the music swelled around us, I realized this was the truest purpose of our journey, to seek out these moments of connection, to learn and grow and share in the wonder of it all. As the gatherings continued through the night, I exchanged a glance with Juno, Elira, and Roark. This was why we ventured into the unknown, why we braved the uncertainties of the cosmos. Not just to explore, but to connect, to become part of something greater. When the dawn broke over the horizon, its light spilling across the landscape in a cascade of gold and blue, I knew we had found more than just a destination. We had found another piece of ours. Elves, a reminder that we were never truly alone in the vastness of the universe. And with the new day, we prepared to continue our travels, the Forsaken ready to sail once more on the currents of the cosmic seas. There were more mysteries to uncover, more stories to hear, and more threads to weave into the endless tapestry of existence. Our journey stretched before us, limitless and filled with promise, and with every star we passed, we knew we were exactly where we were meant to be.